I'm kind of like I think people like Michael Jordan. I'm kind of a unique kind of character.
And I have
The analytics
I love
you just see how games and possessions how they mean more.
I'm not putting him on.
I think the U.S. is going to obviously win.
Okay, nothing but respect. August 17th, me, Patrick, that Harry. We have a lot to get to. We have a lot of important stuff. And I'm going to intro our guest by way of asking him a question at the end of this story. So a couple weeks ago, friend of the show, Jacob Rosenberg, hits one of the group chats and he says, my girlfriend and I have made an amazing find in Red Hook, Brooklyn. We're walking around, just kind of doing stuff. And she spots these 4 what appear to be hand-carved wooden office chairs sitting next to an industrial building. And she says, those are nice chairs. We got to go over there. And so they go investigate. They go talk to the person at the front of the building, and they say they belong to ex-NBA player and his production company at this Red Hook studio. You can just take them. And Jacob's girlfriend notices immediately, these are like nice chairs. They look them up. They're made by this company, Baxter in Italy. And the price is not listed on the website. They're so nice. There's 4 of them. They take them home. So they have these amazing chairs now. And I want to ask our guest, our lawyer, Ock Sportello, and I will remind you, you are on the record, which recently retired NBA player do you think's studio business concern gave away roughly $3,000 worth of nice Italian office chairs on accident?
I'm really thrown by the clause recently retired because I absolutely was going to go Melo.
It's Melo. Yes. Yes. Wow. That's why he's our lawyer.
Let's go.
Incredible.
The second he texted me this, I said, under no circumstances can you tell Harry Krinsky what you found because I have to bring this for the show.
Oh my God.
That is I was about to say that's the coolest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life.
It's so good. Yeah. They're really beautiful chairs too.
Used beautiful Melo chairs. Fuck. That's
what
cool.
it's all about.
Wow, that's so special. I like that we've reached a juncture in language where mellow chairs mean the polar opposite of one another. Like it's like one of those quandaries of learning English that you have to understand that mellow chair could either be like a designer Italian Baxter chair or like Homer Simpson that like gives you a hand job as you do. It's like the duality of mellow.
Oh man, yeah, no, that is amazing, and that sort of sets the scene for a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. This is a Broke Jumper Tip Line special episode. We're going to be basically dumping the notebook of various rumors we've heard, most of them about people's jump shots, but there's some other ones in there. But there's a few things I want to talk with our lawyer about. Get a little summer catch up before we jump into all of that. The first one is we have not talked. We were just talking offline because it's been a little while, and one of the reasons was during the Knicks incredible playoff run, you were not returning anybody's calls. You were saying, don't put me on the show. I'm not going to do anything about this. And it did get me thinking that like, we saw with New York fandom, or I should say with like with this Knicks championship run, we saw something really interesting, which we saw 2 major parties emerge around Knicks fandom. We saw people who loved the Knicks, right? New York fans who love New York, whatever. And then we saw the backlash. We saw people who don't like the Knicks, who found the Knicks kind of to be really annoying. These are largely people who didn't live in New York, people who kind of felt like this was this annoying elitist situation. But it's funny, those are like Knicks lovers, Knicks haters. There is a secret third category, which is Brooklyn Nets fans, which we had completely forgotten about, who have this other kind of tortured, cuck chair style, psychosexual dynamic with the Knicks. And you are the preeminent Nets fan and New York Knicks kind of hater / lover. So how did you catch us up? How was this run for you? How are you feeling now?
Please disregard my cat coming across the screen right now.
She can sense your heart rate's elevating.
She's trying to comfort you.
yeah. It's all good, bro. Don't hit me again.
You're exhibiting Josh Hart mania symptoms. We got to calm you down.
Yeah, he's thinking about the OG tip again. Oh no, I'm not eating tonight. No, my cat did very heroically. My cat's a big vomiter, and in an act of like beautiful solidarity, probably 2 months ago, just decided to throw up on the Jalen Brunson New Yorker cover. It's like it was making me sick that was in my apartment to begin with, and just like completely destroyed it. I had to leave the country during the Knicks run. I found myself getting probably as close to like institutionalization as I've ever been in my life. But what I will say with the benefit of hindsight is that the greatest thing that has ever happened to me in my life is the Knicks winning the championship. Wow. I think as the tortured cuck chair fan who could not in good faith root against the city of New York, like a place that really does, I have a lot of fondness for it, a lot of love for it, love to poke fun at as well, but it's a place that is very near and dear to my heart. It wasn't as easy for me to hate on them as it was, some other big villains in my life. And I think that the anticipation of them getting over the hump one day was what was driving me insane. And so my mania was more like closely concentrated in the Cavs series. For instance, like when you just could tell what was happening, my mania was further intensified by the notion that it was going to be the Spurs in the final, and everyone was hyping up Wemby. It dawned on me with a really alarming sense of urgency that this was going to be the first ring that didn't have an asterisk in as long as we could remember. And it was truly dreadful. But then I left the country and the Knicks won. And I stayed away from my phone for a few days. I made my Snapchat streaks only. I was smoking, drinking, thinking. I was on my lonesome, my lonely stoner. And when I finally rechecked my phone, I'd deprogrammed my algorithm enough to avoid most Knicks content. And then I saw, slowly but surely, the content start to trickle back in. And what I saw was Chipotle naming bowls after Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges. I saw Josh Hart saying pause multiple times on national television. I saw Jalen Brunson's face, his box braids, his fucking like the cheeks, the jowls, his Nixonian jowls. And most importantly, I saw just congregants on congregants in the West Village chanting and singing the New York song from Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. And I realized finally, it's actually not so bad. Like, it's okay. Like, at the end of the day, the worst thing that could possibly happen to me in my basketball fandom happened. And rather than it tormenting me for the rest of my life, it was a bunch of people who, frankly, I looked down upon singing the Alicia Keys song. And I realized at that point that I was completely unburdened, completely free. And I had gone from saying to myself, I can't listen to the pod anymore. I can't respond to the text. I can't watch basketball again, to appointment television every game of Brooklyn Nets Summer League. I am back in. It is like I have reached the other side. I have achieved what they call ego death, and I am once again back in the fold. So I have to say thank you to the Knicks. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
That's beautiful. They put you on Joman time. Someone had to do it.
Exactly right.
Well, that's. I mean, that must feel. I feel like you wrote this essay for your Substack that was really good. And you sort of posited a kind of Chungusification of Knicks and Knicks fandom. And you must have really felt like you called your shot when you see like Josh Hart tweeting about like, bro, we got to bring back Bible verses in the schools. Like you must have felt like, wow, I really nailed this one.
I mean, it is. And like far be it for me to say I'm the only person who's been saying this, because a lot of writers who I really respect have been keyed in on this for a minute. Like Min Tron has been writing about this for some time now. There are others who just have identified that like the more that New York has kind of become the city of the internet, right? Like the city that the entire internet is deeply invested in the mayoral race of, the city with a culture that is most ostensibly easy to perform, right? Like you can very easily describe New York culture in a way that you can't for many other cities. I mean, you could say tech about San Francisco, concrete beaches about Chicago, and Erewhon about LA, but New York really does have a defined starter pack that people move into more and more frequently. And watching the Knicks become the entry point for that, the kind of great assimilating point for people who are either aspiring New Yorkers or want to show their bona fides on some like Safdie brother style shit. Watching them kind of become this Chud parody has been like, I hesitate to say fulfilling, because again, I have a lot of love for New York, right? Like I do want better for New York, and also like what the fuck ever, they won the championship. But it is just profoundly strange to me that the team that united what could arguably be called the greatest city in the world is one that is so like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. It's just bizarre.
It is funny, like the 04 Pistons. Pistons are the exact opposite, where there's like incredible synergy, or like the grit and grime Grizzlies. It is kind of there's a little bit of like a wishing on a monkey paw thing, where like you get to have a team that embodies your city and you get to win, but it embodies the absolute worst part, and not only the worst part, the part that is sort of like secretly devalues the cool parts, like that like kind of like is like a deadweight anchor that sinks the kind of like Bushwick drum and bass show, like that is getting like pulled down into the Hudson by whatever, like waiting in line at Froyo or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting to frame this against this sort of recent, I think there was I don't know if it's a New York Mag story or what, about the kind of like Ohioification and like sort of SEC mission creep of like the West Village and sort of like Manhattan generally. And I feel like that's one of the things about New York that I find so sort of fascinating, is it is kind of the one real American city. Like, Chicago is a catchment basin for the Midwest in the same way that like LA is also a catchment basin for a lot of West Coast people, but like nowhere else is like New York is where everyone comes. And so it necessarily sort of has to reflect while also kind of changing the character of the America that comes there. And I feel like inherent in those stories, I see this worry that like, our sort of the way we can change the people who come here, like that effect, the severity of that effect is lessening, if that makes sense. Like they aren't assimilating into the New York kind of mindset. But I feel like the Knicks sort of square this circle, if that makes sense. Like they give you a classically New York, greatest city, object to sort of hinge around, but at the same time, like both things are changing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's also like, I think that is what really confounds me about this Knicks team too, is that you look at like the actual composition of the players, and at the risk of being too like unmoored in the analysis here, like it does feel significant on like a mimetic level that the team is comprised of a bunch of good Catholic school boys who like don't really have swag, and kind of like, I don't necessarily seem fake, like actually do seem very true to themselves,
right.
But like their aspirations in life, aside from winning championships, which congratulations, they have achieved that, is to get a Chipotle bowl named after them, right? Or like Jalen Brunson taking a pay cut and presumably not doing the aspiration style ? Deal, because like what he wants to rock in his life is LL Bean. You know what I mean? Like he actually does not care about Rick. Like Rick is none of his concern. It is that level of basic combining to build this team that did come to unite New York that feels like more significant of a statement that New York is being Ohiofied than anything else could have been. And also the silent contributions of the Dominican man who is low-key the most important player, Like,
Yes, right. There's metaphor there too,
the cat who like actually does build it, but Brunson comes in, does hero ball at the end, and then he's relegated to kind of like a meme who upholds the general character of New Yorkness. It's all there. They're a very fascinating team on like a textual level.
I really like what you were saying, Patrick, about the one American city, and it makes me think like, you know, I'll sometimes go to Flushing, and one of the cool parts about Flushing is like, wow, you can see this like really authentic kind of like Chinese American experience, and I like the idea of being like somebody else being like, yeah, it's amazing. You can go to West Village and like you can see what the inside of a LLM looks like. It's like it's like a cultural export. You can be like, wow, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, no, like they just walk around and they have like yogurt and they have these really big cookies that are like giant and whatever, and a bunch of the drinks have all kinds of layers to them. It's amazing.
I mean, it's so spot on that like one of the storylines from the finals was like lines outside of that SG. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's really hard to get in. Like, it's just a bit on the nose. But I think at the end of the day, they did win, and it inaugurated what seemed to be a fantastic summer in the city. And so, again, I think that it's interesting from the standpoint of like, what does this portend for the cultural formation of New York City? But I fear that I'm being asked to retire my hater hat a little bit because the worst has come to pass and we're still here.
Well, I got to say, as a hater with a very formative series of losses that happened early in my life, seeing the success of the Lakers was an equally important thing to me as seeing the failures of the Kings, because ultimately they were burdened by and cursed with those successes. Like Shaq and Kobe breaking up, just the general sort of like paranoid schizophrenia with which Lakers fans regard their own team. And then you're seeing that manifest a lot now with the weird sale and stuff. Like it isn't going to make anyone happy, I guess. Like it will to a certain extent, but like these successes are also a burden. So the true hater knows on a long enough timeline, we always win. Of
course. I mean, there really is. I have a political theory I like to call the exaltation of the mid. and, you know, sometimes in life you come to the realization that mid or worse is where you're meant to be. And it's where you find peace.
One thing on the Lakers sale, now that this Lakers sale is getting like really, you know, funky and controversial, I really love the idea of remaking Chinatown, but it's about the Lakers deal, but it's young Jack Nicholson investigating the death of current today Jack Nicholson. He's like the sort of story is about the sale of the Lakers and the kind of the stream of the attention economy, and yeah, you know, 35-year-old Jack Nicholson is like driving around trying to figure out who killed real Jack Nicholson. So that's just something
like, there's an Andreessen Horowitz logo on the bottom of his chair. What does that mean?
Yeah. I'm not here to spend tokens.
We should say we will have a Lakers focused episode coming soon. We're not going to talk about that today, but
this episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Speaking of mid, though, let's talk about the great pull. Well, let's talk about music. I was going to say we're going to get to actually talking about mid in general, but let's talk about music. One of the other things I wanted to talk with you, Ock, while we have you, is the confusing and interesting conversation around AI rap music, AI music in general. I mean, I guess it's AI music in general, but the battleground is sort of like bizarrely 80s mid-tempo funk made by rappers.
It's the craziest thing ever. It's actually insane.
You wrote a great piece about it. Fellow friend of the pod, Drew Millard, gave. Oh, we're talking about the Tyga, aka Starface album, and Rubbers by Phoenix Flexing, and a few other things. But the Drew Millard wrote this review at Pitchfork. Pitchfork gave their first zero in I think 19 years, because people hated this. Well, almost nobody listened to it, but the people who did listen to it hated it. You wrote a great piece, sort of like reckoning with all of this, reckoning with AI music. How did you get to the point where you were writing about this piece? What are you thinking about? Give us like a top line, kind of your assessment diving into this LLM rap music.
Yeah, so I have really avoided all of this shit for quite some time. Like, I, mercifully enough, did not even listen to the Phoenix Flexen song until I was asked to do it for this piece, at which point I was like fucking astonished, right? Like you hear people, I don't know, I'm a guy who does a lot of scrolling, right? I'm scrolling frequently with the sound off. You see people talking, you deem it none of your business, you move on. And one day you click on it and you hear, like what Rubbers sounds like. And you're like, holy shit, like what is going on? And so I only encountered this album, so to speak, because my editor basically said, hey, do you want to take a stab at the Tyga album? I said, oh, Jesus Christ, there's a Tyga album? And he more or less was like, check it out. And so it doesn't take genius to pick up very quickly that what you're hearing is not Tyga's voice as we understand it, nor is it what we traditionally would call recorded music. Like it really is just start to finish transparently AI generated, right? In a way that like Rubbers even still isn't as much, right? Yeah. Rubbers being what is basically a fully AI constructed reference track that at least you can assume Phoenix Flexen's doing like the ad libs on. Like you get the sense that Tyga's team over the course of at most a week generated 10 songs and then pressed download to the zip and put it out there. And like you can hear it throughout the album because it's an album that came out late July, was announced early July. And a lot of the songs have lyrics talking about the month July. It is astounding how quickly this was slapped together. And like there's all these visualizers for it that are just obviously AI. You know what I mean? Like Tyga with his like fuck ass perm is always in like the center of the shot. And there's always like this exotic animal nearby. Like it's totally perplexing. So yeah, I was not aware of this until someone tipped me about it. And I have been really, really fascinated the more and more I've been diving into just like the back end technology of what it looks like to actually generate music, contemplating what the future is going to look like of how baldly cynical artists can get. And the, I think, very live question of like, can an artist who takes themselves more seriously than Tyga actually bear to do this? Will they do it? Like, is Tyga kind of a test balloon, or is this just a long tradition of Tyga kind of fucking around and not really caring about his craft, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe they built a data center in Rack City. I thought they had a lefty mayor, but it's really been a big shift. I thought one of the most interesting observations that you and Drew sort of both got at from different directions was this idea that like, even if no one listens, like no one is going and seeking out this album, I hope. Like I've only seen posts about how bad it is, but like its production already represents a sort of algorithmic victory because it is like being designed to it's like an album by robots for robots, basically.
Yes. But also, I think like what's really grim to me, and Drew notes this in his own right, like at the end of his piece, where he basically cautions against listening to it at the risk of you running up the streams and rendering it more profitable, which I think is a very valid argument, and also that, I don't know, people obviously can listen to it if they want to see what's going on, but I think like where we are with AI generated music right now, and this is what I tried to get at in my piece, is that the only framework we as listeners have right now is to say like, is this AI? Or, oh, this seems like AI.
Right.
Without like a really well-defined definition of what AI music is. Like, obviously the Tyga, to the extent that there is such a thing as AI music, the Tyga album is AI music. Like, it is start to finish. AI has been used at every step of the way. But that very line of questioning is what in its own right generates buzz for people to click on these songs. And it's not impossible for me to imagine that the people at, I think it's called Empire Records, which is the record label that, it's a subsidiary of an indie, but a big indie. And it has
San Francisco based.
Yeah, San Francisco based, and it's got Tyga and Phoenix Flexen on the label too.
Yeah.
So to the extent that anyone was questioning whether or not these were similar means of production, they absolutely were. It's the same label. But it's not impossible for me to imagine that some smart person at Empire knows that whether or not people like or dislike AI, the question of whether a song is AI is going to get enough people to click on it,
Right.
that it is going to start, especially on TikTok and Twitter and these feed-based platforms that have like increasingly sensitive algorithms, it is gonna be everywhere, right? And the other thing about AI music is it sounds like shit, but it is functionally based on the entire history of recorded music up to that point. Like, there are songs that have certain melodic structures that stick with you. Like, the worst part of this writing this piece was I got a Tyga AI song stuck in my head.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I could never say I liked it, but it stuck with me in much the same way that like the Swedish pop songs of the 2010s would stick with you.
Right.
And so I think the cynicism of the AI gambit is not just that you can put out an album in 2 seconds, hope the bots get it, but also by generating this controversy, you are like in bad faith enticing people to come check out the music to then start this avalanche of algorithmic reinforcement.
Yeah, that is very. I mean, I didn't even think about that, but that makes total sense to me, and sort of strikes me how like this idea that like whether or not you can recognize music as AI music, that sounds very similar to a lot of the stuff about how like AI writing is becoming increasingly more difficult to detect. Like, there's this idea that like, oh, if you just see the M dash or like it's this but not this or the rule of three thing, then it's definitionally AI. And the effect I've seen more than anything is getting people to abandon using those things in their own writing.
Yes.
And so like
yes.
even if people are like, they don't want AI writing, you know, they're doing the pangram checks that don't work, like they're against it, like you're already sort of ceding ground. And like, I think like, yeah, it's impossible not to sort of accept the premise that like this stuff exists or that it will continue to get better, right? Like, isn't that also sort of the real Trojan horse here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is what drives me insane too, is like that pangram check, for instance, that is always put forth as this like totally definitive slam dunk, like, oh, this text was 100% AI generated or 0% AI generated, is that more than anything else, I feel like those of us who consider ourselves like AI skeptical consumers of media have few tools at our disposal but to identify something as AI. And what it does to us is just situate us in this totally paranoid state of mind, right? Where like more than anything else, you cannot encounter something new without at some level questioning whether or not a human made it. And like you alluded to, Patrick, like as these systems get more sophisticated, it's going to be, I think, an outdated or imprecise way of engaging with what is actually coming for us, right? Like there was that terrible, terrible Kanye album that recently came out where in the lead up, he leaked a version of it that seemed to have been the vocals seemed to have been entirely AI generated. Then when he actually announced the album, he announced it with a poster that said no AI involved. AI became part of the narrative, and it sounds like at least some of the songs do have his voice. Is his voice repeating lyrics that AI generated? Is his voice working off an AI like ghostwriter reference track? It's the way that AI can be used to generate music and writing and movies and all this stuff is so far beyond, I think, the binary question of is this AI now, that unless we as people who are like generally opposed to AI intruding into every facet of our lives, like we're going to have to find a different vocabulary for talking about this.
Well, and two things. One, it's like so much of the creative process already does involve looking backwards. It does involve, especially in like rap. You know, like rap music is a art form built on sampling and repurposing and all of this stuff. And so I do. It's interesting that maybe rap was this battleground because it's a uniquely gray area where, like, I mean, you referenced T-Pain in the piece and Kanye, like there was a much more subdued version of what we're talking about here with autotune when that was like, which is, you know, like that is a technology that makes it in certain ways it functions very similarly to AI. It like democratizes tone and allows you to kind of sing in quote unquote perfect tone as easily as you want or whatever. I think we would all agree that there was still a lot of great art that came out that involved autotune because the novel ways of like smashing old and new together ended up being cool. But as these models get more and more complicated and more deft at combining stuff while still never actually generating anything new, which is of course like kind of functionally impossible, that line just gets thinner and thinner and harder to see around like but in a way maybe there's a value of like maybe we're gonna like tumble through the paranoia and just be like, I like what I like you're gonna have to rely on a sense of taste. I don't know, it's yeah,
weird. I see that future as the most likely one, and like my primary concerns around like the stuff in music specifically is less like that like AI technology will be used to make songs and more like the sort of political economic angle of like, are musicians just going to become obsolete? Like it's already increasingly like even in the world 3 years ago of like all algorithms but no real like AI generation, like you see the way that like the economics of the larger industry like force artists and behaviors to change. And like I think one of the reasons why this is happening in music is like music is so specific to the moment. Like it is a sort of art form of immediacy. And like, I think I wouldn't be like thrilled about it, but I would, you know, accept the compromise of a world where like people are using some stuff sort of in the way you said as like a template or whatever, but like they are still making money themselves. What I worry about is more sort of like, this is a technology of consolidation.
Yeah, and I think that like it's not a mistake that both of the popular or controversial AI music examples of the summer have been this like weird pastiche like 80s vibe, so to speak. Like you can't say it without invoking the word vibe.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that is very it crystallizes what AI music is actually about right now, which is that it, as you said, Harry, like music, especially rap music, has always looked backward in order to like incorporate it into something new. Currently, the AI models, as sophisticated as they are, seem only capable of recreating backward, but with a modern veneer. And so it is a very convenient tool for artists who are near the end of their rope to kind of like reinsert themselves into the public discourse, right? And I think that, to your point about consolidation, Patrick, Jamie Brooks of Elite Gymnastics and any number of other things has written a lot about this and has been doing a lot of fascinating work, kind of like what Drew did of reconstructing through Treblo, I think is the platform, like what prompts were used to make this music. And what Jamie noted was that this is happening with like the implicit permission of the record labels, right? And so when AI is often heralded as a tool that could be used to democratize music making, which I think is, there's a long lineage of technology being used to democratize the creation of music that typically starts with rap music or
cracked Fruity Loops.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, like black musicians have long been at the forefront of making things work with new technologies to democratize their access to music. And I think we are in a very interesting situation right now where if the major labels are the ones dictating who gets to use AI, we end up in an interesting spot where it's possible that any upstart quote unquote AI artists are just stamped out because their sample wasn't cleared or or they use some proprietary algorithm that is actually not theirs to use, but Empire, and presumably the bigger ones are going to get in on this soon, is increasingly able to pump out its own AI trial balloons and see what sticks. And, you attach some human avatar to it and they go do karaoke at Rolling Loud and the gravy train keeps rolling.
That's a funny aspect of it too. Have you guys seen the video of Phoenix flexing?
It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It's so the part where he like rocks the microphone forward is so fucking sick. It made me like him.
Well, so I wanted to actually talk about the where the human comes in, because I even probably texted you guys when I got the Phoenix Flex and someone sent it to me. It was like, have you seen this probably AI generated song? And I listened to it and I was like, well, sorry, I should say this probably AI generated song made by the Shoreline Mafia guy, which I think is really, genuinely really important because Shoreline Mafia, for those who don't know, before 4 months ago was like a Los Angeles gangster rap outfit that made like good songs. Like there's a song called Wings, a Shoreline Mafia song that I really like. Like it's kind of got this like 2010s hyphy feel to it. Like it's fun. It's fun rap music. And they were like, yeah, the guy from Phoenix Flex made this 80s pop song. And I was like, just from the stunt and the kind of like persona whiplash, I was like excited by it. I was like, this is fucking cool. Like that's crazy that this guy did this. I'm sure it's AI, but he's or maybe it's likely partially AI, but like he's breaking the rules. There is something interesting about recontextualizing an 80s, mid-tempo vibe song made by a gangster rapper. Like he's doing something interesting with persona. And the persona element is such an interesting component here because Tyga is then such a perfect, like, cynical next step. This guy who's talk about vibes. He is sort of ambiently famous. He's
Julian Newman. Yeah. Like he actually is Julian Newman. You know what I mean? Like Rack City is him dribbling like 8 million times. And then like Taste is him on Love Island. And then there's like the weird stuff where he's like maybe his own sister's pimp. You know what I mean? Like
yes. No, right. He I was gonna say less funny. He is famous for having made Rack City, which is like a ridiculous thing to be famous for. But and if there is one kind of positive element of as I see this is I kind of feel like the cynical play and the consolidation style play is like, oh, well, we can just take any famous person and like turn them into a vessel for sort of like now that music is completely democratized, we can like turn them into a vessel and like just sort of use that lore whiplash to like get, frack excitement for these albums. I feel like because we are increasingly, I've said this before, but like persona is becoming increasingly the sort of creative container of our time. Consumers are developing a better sense of persona, like they're becoming connoisseurs of persona in a way where they see this Tyga gambit, even though it kind of operates to me in a very similar way to the Phoenix Flexing one, but they people see through it immediately. They're like, this is some bullshit. Like, this is not like his story, his lore is not compelling. And I guess I see an element of optimism there where like to make good, if the lore is what's so important, then kind of generating organic farm to table, genuinely earned lore by way of that. Maybe it used to be by way of like sitting in a room and practicing guitar, but maybe it's like some other creative act that you're doing it over and over again. That hours worked and that kind of like dedication to craft, even if the craft is something kind of like bizarre now, I am optimistic that people are going to still gravitate toward that, toward sort of quote unquote putting the work in, even as the means to make mid have become increasingly democratized. Does that make sense? Like,
I mean, something you were like when you were talking, I was thinking about the fact that like it actually like the left turn persona shift has actually been the dominant mode of like pop stardom for the last 5-ish years, right? Like you
Diet
look
Pepsi,
at a Beyonce
Hairspray,
or a Drake, where it's like Beyonce's doing the dance album, Beyonce's doing the country album, right? Or every white rapper then does the country album, Drake does the dance album, Drake does the 3 albums, the revenge album, the like cuck album and the dance album, you know, like, and I think it is like you can't analyze the AI pivot like as the way AI music is being currently used to be like, here's a new persona, which is explicitly what is happening in Tyga's situation. You're supposed to understand that it's an album from his alter ego Starface called Starface. It's fucking ridiculous. But like that is a dominant mode of pop stardom right now.
Yes.
And when you were talking, I couldn't help but think like, it's not obvious to me that I would oppose like a 10-track AI album from the Ball brother who made like Swerve, Bend That Corner, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, like the degree to which I like that song has little to nothing to do with its like musical merits.
Yes.
And more that like I like there is a song with a hook that I can hear that is from LaMelo and Lonzo Ball's brother, who like I think was the shoplifting one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I always confuse their lore with the Porter brothers lore, because they're like the Wario and Waluigi brother families. But like, it's not clear to me that I would begrudge him for putting out an AI album. And I think my appreciation of it, well, one, I wouldn't listen to the album in full, whether or not he recorded it himself or not. But it is like, you know, there's something in the show notes about Tyga kind of being a lol cow. And I think right now, lol cows are the people with the permission to dip their toes into the AI world. And I think the real test of AI music is going to be like when someone who is as famous as Kanye, but not going through like an active mental health episode, more or less transparently engages with AI in their music.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the Taylor Swift Divorce AI album in 2029.
Oh my God.
I think it's going to be great. I guess maybe another thing about music, like I think the point about sort of like vibe and lore and persona are like very critical here. And I was thinking a somewhat similar thought when I was watching Geese at Outside Lands the other day. And I was thinking like,
Yep. Take a shot if you had that on your bingo card.
as I was surrounded by these gleeful 22-year-old men who were moshing and like their wallets were flying out of their pockets and like it smelled kind of crazy. I was thinking like music is like, we sort of talked about it as like this art form of immediacy. It's like, it's for young people and it's a way to like define what is cool. And like the way that the music sounds and the things you're making are like in service of that. But like, I think the more coherent way to explain the sort of phenomenology of, you know, any whatever music star, whatever, is like the fusion of that with the lore persona stuff. Like the fact that it's cool, the fact that it can sort of be this like, this sort of inexplicable clarifying point for so many like young people. And that does sort of make me feel optimistic, which is this. And like, the reason for that is that like, none of this is exactly predictable. And the stuff that people like will be the stuff that gets made. And so maybe we'll all just be, you know, trained by the algorithm out of liking good food and thinking that, you know, whatever Starface stuff gets on our plate is what we should eat. But like, I do think the primacy of youth is a reason to be optimistic about this.
Absolutely.
Well,
Like none of those motherfuckers knew about the geese psyop thing, you know?
Right.
They just
Right.
wanted to watch
No.
Cameron Winter wail.
Hell no.
Okay. Well, last to get us out of music corner. Another gentleman made an album. Have you guys consumed any of the Pat McAfee Diary of a Polarizing Figure?
I have not touched it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So and look, I'm not here to stream shame anybody. I did check out there's an interesting new feature on Spotify that you can see how many people in a state are listening to a song. So I am one of 1,700 people who have listened to it in the state of New York, which is really interesting. I feel like I'm actually like, wow, I'm a legitimate critic. Like I could totally.
You're a first mover, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And also, New York has like buffalo in it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. We're not just talking Bushwick, baby.
Yeah. It's such a good point.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
So I dipped my toe into it. And I wanted to do just a little game to get us out into the next phase. This is I have pulled lyrics from Starface, and I have pulled lyrics from Diary of a Polarizing Figure, and I would like you to see if you can guess which belongs to which. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, before we proceed,
Yep.
was your assessment of the Pat McAfee album that it was human-made, AI-made, somewhere in between?
Well, you know what's a kind of we're in the next phase of like this is what people used to do when they were trying to when they had a vessel and they needed to fill it with music. Is he writes in his like little music blurb on Spotify, which I want to talk about this actually because in this banner photo, he is smoking pot, and there's a number of songs that are like explicitly about pot. And do you associate Pat McAfee with like a weed? He's like
he strikes
pot.
me as a drunk guy.
He's talking about smoking weed like an 8th grader. Like it's like non-stop. Like we just need to light up the kush and like it's
Oh
crazy.
my God, he is smoking a
No, it's bizarre. It's like it's very strange. But so in that little blurb, he says basically like I mean it's a who's who of funny people to reference, but he's like, I have been writing music for 20 years, verses here and there, and then I recently got connected with Jelly Roll, and Jelly Roll kind of told me that I should start making the music, and I linked up with this famous country producer, and he helped me make the album. And that's what I believe. Like that sounds right. That like
I'm looking at it right now, and it is written in the exact same cadence as, you know, like LeBron's caption when he posted the picture he drew of Bart Simpson.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, he's like, my bad, Bart, like drawing is my escape.
I have just done a little research, and according to dedicated Pat McAfee listeners, he does talk about smoking weed all the time and euphemistically refers to it as taking my vitamins.
Okay, yeah, okay. Kind of a
Real
woke
stoner,
one
baby.
relationship to weed. Wait.
What is woke? What is the woke 2 take on weed?
You know, my friend recently said that he's predicting cool weed is going to come back.
Okay.
So, but that's sort of like post, like, I guess the woke 2 take on weed. Woke 2 is sort of anti-weed, I think. Woke 2 is sort of like, can you like vape or like, do you mind like not smoking a bong in my house? Like, you know, I think that's probably it's like, you can do it. I don't think you should go to jail for it, but like, it's making you dumb. Can you stop doing it? I think that's on my point of view. I would say that's the woke 2 point of view.
Is it sort of I feel like it's a corollary to a kind of a bring back drinking attitude.
Yes. It's like, why are you, it's like, let's definitely not go to a weed emporium. Let's go to a dive bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, which I will say that does fairly align with my politics. Yeah, anyway, I basically believe, like, what's the difference, right, between a focus group tested fucking pop song and an AI?
Sure.
They're just taking the long way to the same thing. Okay, I have five. Okay. It's a cold world, blocks hot souffle, and we're talking shit. I got a lot to say.
I have to ask, is Pat McAfee rapping on these
I was
albums?
going to say I am voting Pat here.
Yeah,
'cause
this
there's a
sounds
curse
like Pat
word.
McAfee.
I'll tell you there's it's mostly country, but I would say there are some country rap interludes.
Thank you, Jelly Roll.
Yeah, that you are correct. That is Pat McAfee on the song "Oops."
Let's go.
Block's hot souffle is so good.
Yeah.
It's no bankrolls on the table, but I see where he's going here.
Okay, let's go with. Oh well, okay. This is a give. Well, I'm gonna. Okay, this is a giveaway, but winter in the middle of the July heat.
I told you.
Looking for a reason. Yeah, you went cold, left me out standing on my own. That's yeah.
Yeah, it's Tyga, baby.
Okay. Let me give another one.
I do love the idea of like having your AI make an album for you, and then it just references the month that it's making the thing, and you're like, it's fine. You gotta trust the AI here.
It's all good.
Dripping down the coast in the rental, driving like a mental case, glass shattered in the middle lane, sweat through the Miami rain.
Okay.
This feels like Tyga.
Yeah, the way the words are jumbled up together makes me think it's Tyga.
Tyga again. Good job.
Okay.
Wow.
I was gonna say this came up in both of the great Tyga reviews. The idea that like there's sort of this like rhythm to the AI songwriting. And like swiping cards and stacking chips like that.
Yes.
It has the same sort of flow to it, you know?
And the really odd, like I feel like right now my telltale cadence is the part of Rubbers where it goes, money talk is much louder now. It's like such an odd way of delivering the phrase money talk is much louder now. But it's like the way they jam the words in is what I'm listening for right now.
When I was in France, my girlfriend went to a big like friend party weekend thing that apparently featured at one point. Everyone is like, it's like late in the night. They're like fairly addled, just like listening to music. And then this guy who's sort of like, it's kind of tough to get along with. He's part of the group. He cuts the music. He puts on rubbers and stands on like the fireplace in this very like Lynchian scene and makes everyone watch him sing the song. And then the song ends and he starts singing again. And like people just basically throw him out of the house. Like, you have to stop doing this. So now I only say this because I did not realize how thoroughly that song was stuck in my head, because I will whistle like 2 bars and I'm just like told from across the house, like, you better cut that out now.
Yeah.
So it's really infected this household.
Okay. Last two. Here's one. You see a girl in Europe. There's a lot of red flags. It's really the girls with the highlights. And the shit say Ibiza, Mykonos, Italy, France, Miami.
It's got to be Pat.
Wow. Yeah. I think so. This
This
feels
one's
like,
hard.
I mean, Miami comes up again. But this feels almost so poorly written that it has to be Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Is my theory here?
This is a direct quote from a recent podcast appearance of Michael Porter Jr., actually. Yeah. I'll read the full quote.
Wait.
You see,
Oh,
go
that's
ahead,
beautiful.
Fuck, man. Oh, man.
Wait, can you read
give me
it
the
again?
quote.
That's so good.
You see a girl in Europe, you see a girl at Summer League. There's a lot of red flags. And then I think the co-host starts talking. It's really the girls with the highlights. And the shit say Ibiza, Mykonos, Italy, France, Miami.
Oh, man. Now I'm imagining like an AI in the style of Kevin Gates' 2 phones.
Yeah.
But it's Michael Porter Jr. And it goes, all right, you ready for this? I got 5 X's at the white party.
Yeah. That's good.
That's so
That
good.
is so funny. It'd really be the girls with the highlights.
How
I
many
like to
of
imagine
those?
he was saying that to Joe Tsai post divorce.
How many of those 5 places do you think he could find on a map?
Actually, all of them. I think it's everything else. I think
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like he could tell you the names of individual towns on Ibiza, but then he's like, Germany? Is that a country or is that like a like a
Ask
state?
him about Carroll Gardens. I think he's starting to sweat a little. Yeah, the other ones. Let's leave it there. I got my
Oh
joke off.
fuck, that is so funny.
All right, we're 50 minutes in. Time for the broke jumper tip line.
Let's get in there.
Let me give a quick ones because I know you guys got some extra special ones. So I'll give you a quick some quick simple ones from our listeners who DM'd and wrote the email. So thank you for all of these. We have a tip from somebody who's sitting at a bar next to a person who worked at the NBA and said, interestingly, they're not allowed to wear team gear, which I didn't know was true. But she said that Draymond Green replies all to like corporate emails from the NBA with 1-word answers. It seems like he's not even supposed to be replying, but then he is reply alling with like, yeah, or sounds good, which is awesome.
I gotta say, it's sort of comforting when athletes like you think about their persona or whatever, and you're like, how put upon this, or is this, or like, are they really like this? And when you find out a fact like this, and it's like, oh yeah, the understanding I have of them is basically correct about how they conduct themselves in the world.
Yeah. Then you have Mitch Robinson's mental health issue during the playoffs was that he was mad that everybody was mad at him for being a Republican. It's an interesting, not something I'd heard. This is the most salacious one, which is that Wemby last summer allegedly trained with Navy SEALs for 3 weeks, but the footage is so damning and weird looking that the footage is never going to come out.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
An interesting idea.
Okay. So
Wow.
let's break this down. So Wemby, he does the Navy SEAL workout and he does the monks workout as a sort of hedge against each other, where it's like coming into the season, if the vibe feels like Chinese Century, we're giving Ramona Shelburne the go, you're publishing that story. But if it's like, American chauvinism, he wants to make a sort of MAGA pivot, he has the Navy one, and then he's like, all right, whatever is sort of more metatextually coherent and interesting, we're dropping that.
That is brilliant. Wemby kind of has like the energy. Harry, you have long argued for the psyop theory of Wemby-ness, right? Like Wemby is this avatar for like the Nike deep state. But Wemby really like proportionally resembles the type of like super soldiers they were trying to create when they accidentally invented like ketamine. You know what I mean? Like that video of Wemby playing soccer without a shirt on, and you're just like, that is a fucking cryptid who's like lurking around. Can you imagine that? Like the chopper goes down over the Bin Laden compound, and Wemby just reaches his arms over the walls and starts digging through Osama Bin Laden's extensive collection of pornography. Just reaches an errant elbow, pow, knocks him out like it's game 4 of the finals. Right? No call, because that's how that's what the NBA refs are in Wemby's pocket. You can imagine these types of things.
It is a really interesting, yeah. It's like they
It's really
created
easy to imagine.
Imagine Wemby diving in the water. Like, imagine the type of silhouette he strikes.
If you were swimming somewhere and you saw Wemby swimming towards you, you'd be like, well, I'm going to die. This is over.
Damn, yeah, that is really interesting. Yeah, it's almost like the secret they were gonna like genetically modify super soldiers in World War II, but like somebody when they were making it like slipped and turned the dial a little bit. So instead of being like proportionally Iron Man, it like looks like I don't know, the Slender Man.
It reminds me slightly of the least good Plumlee brother, the one who played for the Westchester Knicks for like 5 minutes. For some reason, I think because he was the least good at basketball, was so addicted to the grind that he actually went to college through basketball scholarship and ROTC.
Yes.
And then petitioned the U.S. Army to waive their height maximum so that he could go out and deploy. But Mason Plumlee had completed ROTC and was exempt from service because he's fucking 7 feet tall and presumably would get like drilled by a sniper and waived the height requirement. So there is something to be said of, everyone always talks about like, give me a team of U.S. operators we could take on an NFL team. What if we had an elite cadre of just extremely tall guys? You know what I mean? Donovan Clingan kind of like running around. You could probably fit 3 guns on that guy. It's food for thought as we increasingly are mired in this Iran war.
Right. Yeah, it is.
I didn't know there was a maximum height. Like, what is it?
It's under 7 feet. I'll tell you that much.
Wow.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
I like this take. Yeah.
The
we
US
gotta get
government is in their small ball era. The US military is. Mike D'Antoni, Pete Hegseth's like, it's actually skill ball. We want people who can shoot 3 guns at a time. It has nothing to do with how tall they are.
Yeah. How would Douglas MacArthur have fared in the positionless era?
All right. The only other one I got before we're going to kick it to you guys who have some great ones is a guy who only referred to himself as the Cavs fan, left a number of really long voicemails, including one, I think the first one, where in the middle of it, he realizes he's not calling the Truanon line. And he's like talking, and then he's like, oh yeah, wait, this isn't the Truanon line. And then he's just like, you guys got to talk about the Cavs more. Switches. So huge shout out to him. And that's all I got. Okay, give me Jack. You've been teasing that you have some good ones. So
okay,
what do we got?
So I have a few. One of which I've already announced for you guys, but I think the listening public deserves to know. And that is that I have a friend in the Philadelphia area who himself is a bucket and a problem. And by virtue of being a bucket and a problem, he was recruited to a very elite run outside of Philadelphia proper by one of Philadelphia's greatest celebrities and noted hoop fan, M. Night Shyamalan. My friend's scouting report of M. Night is that he is a 3-and-D. Mind you, sorry, let me set the stage for a second. Full court run. M. Night is recruiting like high level talent. Like preferably you played ball in college. If not, you probably could have gone D3, but you chose something else. Like my friend was a college athlete but didn't play ball in college. M. Night reportedly is a 3-and-D. He very rarely goes inside the 3-point line or anywhere close to the corner on offense. He's described as having a really low release on his shot, like a quick push shot. And he is fond of the pick and pop. Now, my friend who will remain nameless notes that M. Night can get hot. And when the boy gets hot, it's usually curtains for the other team. That M. Night is described as shuffling around the court. He's not actually sprinting. It's more of like a shuffle. But he is allegedly in pretty good shape for his age and is pretty strong. And he loves to talk shit for his team.
Wow.
So that's my M. Night scouting report.
That's really good. And he's doing this at a decently high level run too. Like,
oh, absolutely.
He's playing with real
yeah.
hoopers.
Yeah. And he knows his role, you know? In a moment, I'm going to get to someone who doesn't know his role. But first, I want to mention, this may be apocryphal, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I have some sources through the grapevine who claim that Alan Dershowitz has been, he's aged out at this point, but he was iced out of Harvard Law School runs because he was such a ball hog. Wow. Which led me to Google Alan Dershowitz basketball and found that he did play for Yeshiva, but more importantly, in 2005, sued the TD Garden because he slipped and fell inside of a bathroom and claimed it was because there weren't enough towels.
Amazing.
So Dersh, sometimes the enemy of your enemy is your friend, and I have found myself in an unlikely political alliance with Alan Dershowitz. Now, there's some other shit I got of the ex-owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, who transparently, Mark Lazary, that guy, you may or may not remember that he played in the 2017 celebrity game.
I think I remember this.
100% bought himself into the game, flew out his entire family to watch. My friend who had boots on the ground says that Lazary plays in cement with a broken jumper, and so I found footage online to confirm. It's literally horrifying. He's getting torched by Win Butler. Like, he can't keep up with Flea, and his point guard for the game was Justin Bieber, which was a lot of fun, but that's public record, so you can find that 2017. But here's one I want you guys to guess, okay? So I'm going to give you a hint that the person I'm talking about is who I'll describe as a political figure of some stature. And I'll just give you a scouting report, and if you can't get it, I'll give you a hint, okay? I want you to picture someone with a little Manu Ginobili in his game, okay? And I'm not at liberty to talk about everything, but I will say that this man has what we might describe as an SGA-style whistle, okay? He's a lefty, pretty athletic for a guy his age. He can't shoot past the elbows, but he's good at getting to the rim, kind of does a bit of everything. We had the Manu comp that came after the fact, but the first comp that came to mind for the source I had contacted was Tayshaun Prince.
Ooh.
And
do you have any guesses?
This is just play style, or is there a metaphor around him getting a good whistle?
There is no metaphor.
Okay.
There is no metaphor. I'm being completely sincere when I say he has a very generous whistle in the run.
I've seen images of this person who is a left-handed political figure of some stature playing basketball. I don't think I've seen video. Is it former United States President Barack Obama?
If you like your ankles, you can keep them. It is Barack Obama, baby. 44, plays like Manu Ginobili.
And gets
That's a cool comp to have.
That is a cool comp to have.
He is apparently a pretty high-level player.
Okay, nice.
He's a pretty high-level player.
That doesn't altogether surprise me. Like the level of like him doing the brackets in the White House and like the degree to which he clearly cared about basketball, like that, it sort of makes sense that he would be good too.
Yeah, 100%.
The Tayshaun Prince comp is interesting, less in the specific and more in the like. I myself have compared my own game to Tayshaun Prince, and so have a lot of people around me, and I sort of wonder why that guy is such a why so many people identify with this like good defender, but not like why him, you know?
Yeah, that would be there's Harry, this should be your next chart of like the band of acceptable player comps that you can assign yourself or someone else.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Right? Like I always describe my game as like a 6 foot tall Reggie Evans. You know, like you can't be out here being like, yeah, I got a little bit of Jokic in my game. Like there's an acceptable medium.
Right. That is a good. Yes. I honestly may take you up on that. The one thing I wanted to say about Barry O being Tayshaun is it's sort of giving like. Yeah, he was Shea Gilgeous-Alexander when he went into office, but he was Tayshaun by the time he came out. Tayshaun kind of has the gaunt sort of, God, I just did this leverage buyout, and I got to like figure out what we're doing with Gitmo. Like, fuck, you know, like I can't quite figure it out.
Yeah, it was Tayshaun Prince once he put on the tan suit.
Yeah, exactly. That's really funny. Yeah, I wonder Tayshaun. I mean, it's funny. I loved Tayshaun Prince as a kid. I wonder if there's something like he was, I believe he was never an all-star, but he's very close to the one-time all-stars, which is like he was, I think there was like controversy around him being left off the 2004 all-star team when the 4 of the 5 start Pistons of the starting 5 wanted to be, or were had eyes on being all-stars. So That's a good one.
My theory here is that he is a skinny guy who didn't shoot much and had a kind of fucked up jumper, which is certainly something that like I can identify with to a certain extent, and like a lot of people can as well. But like he's good at rebounding and defense and stuff. And like when I think through how I compare my own game, it's like I can't really score super reliably, but like I like to do all the connectory stuff, which is like the more ambitious person would be like, yeah, I'm sort of like if Nikola Jokic couldn't score. But I think Prince is maybe more like a Tayshaun Prince with like a terrible head injury is like maybe more accurate.
Yeah.
You'd start from a lower point.
Yeah.
I have a conjoined broke jumper tip line from the same source. From there is I believe it was a Monday night media run in New York from when this friend lived in New York, and he was there for a long time, played with a lot of people from all sides of the media aisle. The number one is that Chris Haynes, the MSNBC guy, not bad game, but gets very frustrated with himself. I've heard from this source. Like there was a moment where he missed a sort of like open bunny under the bucket and like maybe got fouled or something and could be heard muttering under his breath, like, you fucking sell out.
It's really amazing.
That's really good.
I find it to be very believable and honestly kind of makes me like him more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love
Like
the
that
idea
level of self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's cool.
That's really good.
The other one, and this is a little more upsetting, is that transphobic Substack guy, Jesse Single, is nice with it. He's fucking good.
Let me see. I don't even know who Jesse Single is. Jesse Single.
It's spelled Singal.
He's like a piece of shit guy.
Yeah, his whole thing is like just asking questions about medically. Is this, should we be doing this?
Got it.
And is it,
okay.
Okay. He's sort of like the Atlantic magazine of, laundering right wing ideas.
Right.
Yeah.
Style. But nice with it. Good connector, good passer, like knows how to play. So, but you know what? That's like in the interest of full disclosure, we got to just be honest about what we get.
Got it.
Yeah. No, this is you can't just tear down your enemy. Yeah, Curious Jesse.
Got it. Okay. Is that what it's? Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing. Okay, looks like he went to Michigan, so maybe go blue, I guess. That's good to know though. Look, if you've gotten to this point, we want to know. We want to know people like this, even if they have opinions we find to be distasteful and hacky. We need to know if they're good at basketball because it's just like, we can sometimes become reduced to these avatars of ourselves, and it's good to know if those avatars can operate a pick and roll, handle a press, whatever, even just like through the like step back, like whatever. We just got to know. Okay, well, I think that's everything we've got. This has been another classic Ock Sportello episode. Ock, what are you working on in this kind of summer interregnum, but between basketball?
I am working on a few things right now. I am eagerly awaiting an interview with the kind of crazy Afghanistan vet who has set himself on a single-sided mission to post like what seems to be 5 videos on Instagram a day about the Brooklyn Nets until he can dispel the myth that the Nets have no fans. So I'm trying to get him on the horn. I'm excited about that. And then we, for better or worse, have a Kanye West Katrina anniversary Superdome show in 11 days, which I imagine these boots are going to be on the ground for. So stay tuned. We have some real dives into the various psychoses that the human mind can accommodate coming up, either on the Substack or elsewhere. So the listeners of the show will be the first to know.
It's a lot of good shit. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've made it this far and you live in the Bay Area, the Oakland Review of Books, founded by friend of the show, Tommy Craggs, is launching. Launch event is Thursday at Eli's Mile High Club. So if you have somehow made it all the way to the end of the app and you live nearby, come out and support.
Hell yeah.